Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name is Joe. In this video, we'll be doing the first race of the 1994 SCRAM season. It is on March 5th. It is the Copper State 500 at Desert Saguaro Superspeedway. And as the name indicates, it is a superspeedway. This is the track card for it here. It is in the desert southwest. It is the Copper State 500, 50 turns. This track has an escape adjustment of -1. There is no change on repair rolls. And it's a 2.55 mile tri-oval. So we're going to get right to the action with the drawing of the taking care of the race week events. We'll do that, drawing the TV drivers and assigning our starting positions for everyone and so on and so forth. I'm actually going to do that off camera to kind of speed things along here because this is a 50-turn race and the video will be extremely long. So I'm going to pause here. I'll come back. We'll look at the TV group. Then I'll go and I'll do the fast week, slow week, etc., etc. And I'll stop along the way and kind of recap what happened, and we'll get this show on the road. All right. We got 7 TV drivers. Carol Worthington here. He drew a placement A and got a performance chip. Then we had Berman. He drew he wrecked in qualifying and had a placement D, so he ends up on the bubble stack because he does have a trophy. Cooney, 22, ended up with a placement C due to a rules violation. 33, Kerry Holguin. He did a TV interview. He got placement A. Kavanaugh, the 48, right here. He got a placement B, but he does not have a trophy, so he ended up in the bottom group. And Ralph Roach here in the 73. He did a placement B. He had an X event. And no, I'm sorry, Paris had the X event. So Bobby Paris had the X event, and he ended up with a placement B. So there you have it. Now I'm going to do fast week, and then so I'm going to pause again. We'll do fast week, and I'll come back to slow week, and we'll get the race started. All right, fast weeks. Dick Exum was first. He has a gold trophy, starts in the second slot. Then Longo here, Orlando Longo, he's a bronze, so he starts at the top available spot in the middle group. Swanson in the 8, also bronze. 36, Thurston. He, no trophy, goes in the bottom group. 14, Yoder. Silver goes there. 77, Troyer, slots in right there. And Felder in the 21, slots in there with his bronze as well. Now I'm going to do slow week. And here are our slow week drivers. So we drew 89, Guidry Thibodeau here. He has a bronze trophy, so he goes on the bubble stack. Next we drew 80, Buck Trimble, also bronze, also bubble stack. Then we had 15, Ringo Ireland. He's a gold, so he gets in the bottom group. 87, Jerry Fierro, failed to qualify because he does not have a trophy. 24, Brian Hartzell, silver, gets in the bubble stack. Same for Charlie Brake and John Gill. John Gill is driving. Nick Gruber is not. And in the 66 car, Wayne Montana is not driving in this race. I figured we'd go with the starters, and the alternates will run later on. So for now, we're just going to not have Gruber or Montana in this particular race. Now we're going to start filling in the rest, and then we'll see if our bubble stack guys get in and where they end up. Okay, we are ready to begin. These are the drivers that did not make the race. We've got Brian Hartzell, Charlie Brake, John Gill. Perhaps this is why Wayne Montana starts getting into the car occasionally. Zero Cavazos, Lynn Valladares, Ron Whitson, Homer Brackett, Chance Clemens, Ryder Kaminsky, and that's it. Those guys do not make the race, so they're out, along with Jerry Fierro, who also did not make the race. And we are ready to start here. Okay, we're ready to roll here for turn number 1. All right, we get a 6 and a 7. 6 is dual, 7 fume, feud, roll again. Well, since there are no feuding drivers, we just move on to the next turn. We don't have any fuming or feuding drivers at the moment. This being the first turn of the first race of the season. This time we get a 1, which is the top group, and a 5, which is heat. So we start checking heat now. So Bobby Paris has heat, so we will roll. And we get a 1-4-1. So the 1 in this case is less than his gas pedal, so that works, but we ignore the 4 because we're challenging the leader, and the 1 for brake pedals, he has 1, and he's get 2 for the bonus, so he has 3, so that fails. So nothing happens there, and we move on to next guy here is Hooks Troyer. He gets a 6, which is higher than his gas, so we don't get anything there either. Ralph Roach has heat. He gets a 1-3-6, so we ignore the 3 again because we're challenging the leader, and that's going to actually be a successful challenge. And both guys have a performance chip, which means we need to determine if they use or lose their chip. So we'll just roll 1 die, and it's odd. And I think if I remember correctly that, well, we'll play it that odd means they spend it and even means they keep it. So I'm just making it up. Doesn't matter. It's an odd even roll. So now Yoder will go. And he gets a 4, but only has 3 gas. Oh, I'm sorry. He has a 3. And I misread that last one. I just realized because I read the white instead. It's red, white, blue. So 3 is good. 4 we ignore. And 2 is not enough to beat Worthington's 3. And now Dick Exum gets to go. He has a 1-3-3. So the 1 is good. We ignore the first 3. The 3 here is a tie, so he also does not successfully challenge the leader. We go to turn 3, and we get a 2 and a 9. So 2 is top group, 9 is reflex. So we're going to start again. Same thing here with Bobby Paris. And we get a 2-3-4. So 2 is good. 3 we ignore. 4 is good enough, so Paris is going to take the lead. Now this lead may be short-lived because we do have to check the next guy up. And we are checking reflex, so Kerry Holgren is next. He gets a 2-2-4. So again, we ignore. He has no brakes, so he's only got 2. So Holgren is going to take the lead from Paris now. And then we go to Hooks Troyer. And he takes the lead from Holgren. Now the next and last one in this group that has reflex is Yoder. And he rolls a 5, which is higher than his gas, so he does not take the lead. So we did have 3 lead changes that turn, and we end up with Hooks Troyer in the top spot. So now we move on to turn number 4. We get a 6, which is another duel, and a 9, which is the number 5 cars in the middle group. So that would be these 2 right here. Okay, so we're going to have Talby challenge Longo first. We really only need the red, and it's higher than his gas pedal rating. So he gets a trouble result. And then we have Cottrell will challenge Swanson. And he also ends up with a trouble result because he fails the duel. So now we have to check their trouble results. So you roll against their escape ratings. So we'll roll here on the escape rating. And he rolls an 8, so he's good. And Cottrell rolls a 10, and he is not good. So now we're going to roll against his pit rating. So his pit crew is an A, and we're going to roll here. We're in the first third, so we have to roll less than an 11. And we do. So he escapes the trouble, but he has to go to the end of the bottom group. And now we'll need to fill the gaps. Now, because it's a trouble result, it causes a yellow flag, which means that we don't have to check people to see if they move up. Everybody just moves up 1. So I'm going to quickly do that instead of making you guys watch it. And Cottrell will end up at the back of the pack here. So the caution takes out turn number 5, and we go right to turn 6. This time we get 2, which again is top group, and 8, and 8 is skill. So we'll start checking skill. No skill, no skill. Holguin has skill. And he rolls a 5. He has 4 gas pedals, so that fails. Roach also has skill. He rolls a 2, 2, 4, so that Roach is going to take the lead here in turn 6. And then we'll check Yoder. 4 is higher than his gas. And we'll check Exum. 3, 3, 5, so Exum takes the lead from Roach. Okay, we're in turn 7. This is our first pit stop turn. So we roll our dice, and we get a 1 and a 4, which means that the 1 and 4 positions in the top and middle groups will swap. Now, because the black die is a 6, we check our TV drivers in the top and middle groups to see if they get a fast pit. So we'll start at the back here with Shad Kavanaugh. All right, so he needs a 4 or less, gets a 10, so that's a no. He needs a 7 or less, gets a 10, so that's a no. Carol Worthington needs a 7 or less, gets a 10, that's a no. Paris needs a 9 or less, gets a 6, so that is a yes. He'll get a chip. Ralph Roach needs an 8, gets an 11, so that's a no. And Kerry Holguin needs a 7 and gets a 4. So that is that. Now we have to reorder them. So I believe what this means is Holguin will go to the lead. Paris will go to second place. And then everybody else moves down. Like so. Okay, so we're going to roll the black die to determine who gets to challenge. Ralph Roach will challenge for the lead. And let's roll here. And he rolls a 6, which is high, so he does not get the lead. He almost rolled triples. And we go on to turn number 8. And we get a 2 and a 5. So 2 is top group, 5 is heat. So a lot of action in the top group in this race. So first driver with heat is Ralph Roach. He gets a 3-1-1. So that would be good, but he does not have enough to pass. Holguin, Hooks Troyer, gets a 4, which is good, and the 1 is going to kill him there. Now we'll check Yoder. He needs a 3, gets a 4, so that's no. Dick Exum, he has a 5, so he rolled a 6 on the red die, so that's a no. And Bobby Paris, 1, 6, 1. So that fails. Since they both have a chip, we'll roll to see, because he could spend his chip to make it successful, but then he could spend his chip. So I'm going to roll the black die, see if we get odd or even. It's even, which means that I'm going to let them keep their chips. Number 9. 4 is middle group, and 3. So 3 is problem. So we have a problem in the middle group. All right, so we have to roll for our driver finder here. So we get a 44. 44 in the middle group is driver 4 even. So that is Longo. And now we roll to see what his problem is. And we get a 34, and the 34 is tight on track, drop to front of bottom group. All right, so he's going to drop to the front of the bottom group. And we're going to end up having to check for fill. So like these guys will move up. And we'll check to see who fills in here. Whether it's Rough Thurston, he needs a 3. And he gets a 1, so he's the lucky winner. He gets to move up to the middle group, and Longo is at the top of the bottom group, right in front of Ringo Ireland. That is turn 9. We go to turn 10. And we get a 1, which is top group, and a 6, which is control. So we have Carol Worthington, who has starred control. So he gets to try again. He rolled a 6, 6, 5, so not triples. This time he rolls a 1, 1, 6. So that's successful, but Holguin has a chip. He'll spend it to keep his spot. Now we move to our next challenger, who is Hooks Troyer. He rolls a 5. That is higher than his gas rating. Yoder, he needs a 3 and rolls a 6, 6, 5, so he almost rolled triples. Exum, who has a starred control, so he actually succeeds, and since Holguin does not have a chip, he goes down. Now he succeeds because the blue die of a 6 is higher than Holguin's break rating. He doesn't have any breaks, but he does get 2 for being in the leader. So Exum takes the lead, and now we check Bobby Paris, who has a control chip, or has a performance chip, rather, so he can actually win this automatically, and he'll use it. So he's going to take the lead, and Exum gets bumped back down to the second spot. Turn 11. 6, so we get another duel, and it's 6, which is the 6th car in the top group. So we have Worthington here. He will challenge Exum here. So he needs a 4 or higher, gets a 3, so that works. So Worthington will take Exum's spot and move up to the number 2 spot. There in turn 11. Now we move to turn 12. 2 top group, 9 is Reflex. So Reflex, no, Hooks Troyer has it. And I'm going to use it. Red, 2 and a 5. So Troyer will take Paris's spot. Troyer's got 2 breaks, and the break bonus gives him 4, so that makes him a little bit more difficult to pry out of there. Yoder has it. And look at that, he rolled a 6. So Yoder actually beats Troyer's 4 there, which is impressive. Okay, next is Holguin. And a 4 is good, and the 5 is also good. So Yoder is short-lived in the top spot. Lots of changing of the lead here. And Worthington gets final credit. And he rolls a 6, 5, 6. So that fails. And he almost has an issue there. So Holguin ends up in the lead as we end turn number 12. Go on to turn 13. 2, again top group, again 9, again that's again Reflex. It'd be nice if we got something different once in a while. We start with Paris. He rolls a 5. He only has 4 gas, so that's no good. Troyer has 4 gas. He rolls a 1 and a 3 on the blue. Means that Troyer gets to take the lead again. These guys keep trading the lead back and forth. Yoder. Look at this. It's a 4, though, so that doesn't work. The 4 on the blue die does him in. And Worthington gets a 5, so he again fails. Worthington's had bad luck in trying to get the lead. So Troyer takes the lead here in turn 13. And we move on to 14. Let's see if we can get something different. 3, middle group, and 11. 11 is Trouble. So we have Trouble in the middle group. So we have to start at the front with Ventura and check everybody's escape rating to see what kind of big accident we may have had here. So we're going to roll the 2 metallics. His escape rating is an 11. So he escapes. Maldonado's is a 10. He escapes. Felder is a 9. He's collected. Jernigan is a 9. He's good. Clooney's an 8. He's good. Brown is a 6 and got a 4. Swanson's a 9. Makes it. Talby's a 9. It's a 7. D'Amico's an 8. He's good. Pettis is a 10. And he gets an 11. That's bad. Wow. Shad Kavanaugh's a 4. Gets a 6. And Thurston is a 6 and gets a 5, so he's okay. So we have 3 cars collected here. So we're going to have a yellow for sure, but now we need to also check their repair rating. So Felder is a C, and we are in the first third still. Yeah, we're still in the first third, but barely. So I'm going to roll here. So he's a C in the first third for trouble. He needs to roll less than a 9. 9 or less. Rolls an 11. So Felder is out of the race here due to a crash. Now we'll check Pettis. He's an A, so he needs 11 or less. He's good with a 6. And now Kavanaugh is an E, so he needs to roll a 7 or less. And he rolls a 7, so he makes it as well. So these two are both going to go to the back of the pack. We've got some filling to do, so I'm going to fill within the group first. Here, so we'll start with Longo, who seems a likely candidate. He needs a 5 or less. So he gets a 4. He's in. Ireland also needs a 5 or less. He gets a 1, so he's in. Keener needs a 3 or less. And he misses. So Raider needs a 3 or less. He also misses. Everett Davis needs a 4 or less. Gets it. So Everett Davis. And now I'm going to fill the rest in here, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so this was actually turn 13. I somehow got, I thought 11 was 12, and I got discombobulated there. So turn 13, we had Felder, Pettis, Kavanaugh crash. Felder's out. And we get, because there were more than 2 cars in the crash, we get 2 yellow turns. So that was actually 13. And then 14 and 15 are caution turns. And actually, I just realized because of that, I didn't need to roll, but I did. So we're just going to let it ride as we move to turn 16 here. And again, top group, number 5 is Heat. So we've had this before as well. So we're going to start here with Exum. He gets a 6, so that's a nothing. Ralph Roach gets a 1, 5, 5. So that is actually going to be good enough to knock Troyer out of the top spot. And now we try Paris. Gets a 1 and a 4, so he is now in the lead. Holguin does not have heat. Yoder does. Yoder takes the lead. And finally, Worthington does not have heat. So that is the end of the turn with Yoder in the lead. All right, so that was turn 16. And we go to our pit stop turn 17. And we get a 6 and a 2. So since the metallics are a 2, that means that there are no position swaps, but the number 1 car in both groups get a violation. So that means Worthington and Ventura and Maldonado all have violations. So they're all going to go to the back. And we're going to start moving up. Now with 6 again, it's TV drivers for performance chips again. So we'll start with Clooney here. And we will roll. He needs 7 or less. Gets an 8, so no. Roach needs an 8 or less. So he gets it. So Roach is good. Holguin needed a 6, got a 4, so he's good. And Paris needs a 9 and gets a 5, so he's good as well. So what that means is these guys all move up. We'll figure out who's going to challenge. Well, let's decide. He needs a 4. Gets a 6, so it's not Jernigan. We'll check Clooney. It's Clooney. So Clooney moves up. Everybody else fills. Let me do the challenge, and then I'll fill off camera. All right, so let's roll to see who gets the challenge off pit road. It's 4, so that's Troyer, rather. And he rolls a 5. Oh, he rolls triple 5s. So with triple fives, we're going to roll on the problem finder here for Troyer. And we get a 51, which is a spin drop to front of bottom group. So he's going to go there. Which means Exum moves up. He moves up. And we'll check Jernigan to see if he moves up to the top group. He does not. Add the Brown. Does. So Brown goes to the top group. All right, so I'm going to pause now, do the fill in. I'll just roll off camera for the bottom group who moves up. Okay, so we have Rader, Schrader, Holder, and McGreevy moved up from the bottom group into the middle group. And we go on to turn number 18. And we got a 1 and an 8. So again, we're in the top group. This time we're looking at skill. Clooney has it. And he gets a 1 and a 4. So with the break bonus, he only has 2, but he has a chip. So he'll use that chip to beat off that challenge. Then we will look at Exum. He gets a 5, which is too high. Actually, no, it's not. The 6 came out of the tower, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it, and Exum will get the top spot there. Yoder has skill. And look at that. Yoder bumps Exum. So we have Exum and Yoder both taking the top spot briefly. Roach, he's got a 6, but he's going to spend his chip to take the top spot. So now Exum, Yoder, and Roach have all claimed the top spot this turn. And now we've got Holguin, who can also claim the top spot no matter what he rolls. And he does. So Holguin is the last of the 4 different drivers to take the top spot here in turn number 18. All right, turn 19. 4, that is the middle group, and an 11 is trouble. So again, possible trouble in the middle group. So we'll start with Jernigan. He needs a 9 or less. Gets an 8. He's good. Swanson needs a 9. Gets an 8. Talby, 9 or less. 7. D'Amico, 8 or less. 5. Thurston, 6 or less. Gets an 8. He's collected. Longo, 5 or less. Oh, gets a 4. Ireland, 6 or less. Gets a 6. Davis, 6 or less. Gets a 9, so he's in there as well. Rader, 7. Gets a 5. Schrader, 7. Gets a 3. Holder, 8. Gets a 4. And McGreevy, 7. Gets a 3. All right. So now we check Thurston. He's a D. We are in the middle third now. So let's see. D, middle third, needs a 6 or less. He is out. Thurston is out. And now we check Davis. He's a B. So he needs an 8 or less. He gets a 7. So he's good. He's good, but he goes to the back. All right. So that is turn 19, and it's going to wipe out 20 and 21 on a caution. And everybody just moves up, so I'm going to backfill here, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, we are on to turn 22. And we get a 4, middle group 9. 9 is reflex. So first driver with reflex is Hooks Troyer. So we're going to roll here. And he gets a 3, 4, 5. So 4 is Paris. 5 is good enough to win that challenge. So Troyer is going to return to the top group, and Paris gets bumped. Next driver with reflex is Schrader. He rolls a 2, 4, 4. So he's looking at the 4 driver, which is Troyer. And he's got 3 breaks, so that actually works as well. Now we do D'Amico. He gets a 4, which is good, a 2, and a 2. So Yoder is out of there. He only has one break from the break bonus, and that's it. Lindsay Talby Jr. 3-1-3. So Ralph Roach does not have any break aside from the bonus, so he's getting bumped, and Talby takes second place. And now Irv Jernigan is the last challenger. 4-5-5. So 5 is Clooney. He's got 2 breaks with the bonus, so he gets bumped. And Jernigan joins the top group. That's the end of 22. On to number 23. And I just threw the dice across the table. All right, 4, which is middle group, and 6, which is control. We'll start with Matt Keener. Rolls a 2-6-2. So the 2 is good. The 6 would be Adler Brown, and the 2 is good. So Keener actually gets to jump up into the top group. All right, our next driver with control is Vic Holder. He rolled a 6, so that's no good. Then we have Bobby Paris. 4-4-3. So he's looking at Billy Schrader, and he takes that spot. Back into the top group for Bobby Paris. Next is Hooks Troyer. 1-2-4. So that's D'Amico. So we're getting some swapping going on here now. Eddie Rader needs a 3 on the red, does not get it. Ringo Ireland has no control. Orlando Longo needs a 5, rolls a 6. Yoder has a 3, gets a 1, 1-6-4. That's going to do it for him. He's going to bump Keener and take the 7 spot. And control, the last one with control is Swanson. And he gets 2-2-6. So he's going to take Troyer's spot. Because even though Troyer has 3 break, that's 6 on the blue. You cannot beat that. That's hard to beat. Hard to fend that off. So that is the end of turn number 23. On to turn number 24. And we get a 6 and a 7. So a 6 is a duel. 7 is fume and feud, which means we don't get one because we don't have anybody in that position. And we move on to turn number 25. And we get a triple 1s. Okay, so triples, but that basically doesn't matter with this roll. It does, but not in the way you would think. So we get 1, which is top group, and then these doubles would mean that there's a problem in the top group after we resolve this. But 2 is actually trouble, and I totally forgot about the -1 escape, so I need to do that. But anyway, because that would have made a difference on a few people, I think, going back. So trouble here, we're going to start with Lindsay Talby. And this time I'm going to remember to use the -1 for the escape. And then at the end, we'll do a problem check for whoever survives, I guess. So we'll start with Talby. His escape's a 9, which becomes an 8. And he rolls a 6, so that's okay. Swanson. He gets an 8, which is what he needs because his escape is a 9. Exum needs an 8 or less, gets a 3. Paris needs a 7 or less, gets a 7. Jernigan needs an 8 or less, gets a 10. So Jernigan is going to have himself an issue. And now Yoder needs a 6 or less and gets an 8. So we got a little accidente at the back of the top group here. So he's a B. We are in the middle section of the race. So he needs an 8 or less. Gets an 8. So he's good, but he goes to the back. And Yoder needs, he's a C. So he needs a 7 or less. He gets a 7. So he's also good, but he also goes to the back. So 2 cars, that means we get a double yellow again, which is going to bring us to the pit stop turn. So we'll be doing our pit stop here next. But now we need to roll for our problem. So let's roll for that. And we get a 46, which is top group, roll die, specific driver. So the 4 is Paris. So we're going to check Paris for a problem. He gets a 51, and a 51 is spin, drop to front of bottom group. So we can say that he maybe got caught up in that little accidente there. So the whole back end of the top group got taken out there on that one. So because of the yellow, we don't have to roll for fill-ins. Everybody just fills up automatically. So I'm going to do the rest of the filling here off camera, and we'll come back and do the pit stop turn 27 here in a moment.
And we're on to the pit stop turn. So let's take these out and we'll roll for our pit stop. Here, and we get a 5 and 4, 2-2. So again, we're going to have some pit violations for the 2. So that would be Swanson and Ringo Ireland. His fans won't be happy, as well as Eddie Rader. So on a black die roll of 5, you check the top and middle groups and the race leader. All right, so we're going to have to check here for fast pit. So this is going to be a lot of fast pit checks. So let's start with Karen Mabry needs a 7, gets a 10, so that's a no. Jeffers needs a 7, gets a 4, so he does get it. Vogt needs an 8, gets an 8. Brown gets a 5, needed a 4, so that's a no. Holder needs an 8, gets it. McGreevy needs a 5, got a 4. Schrader needs a 5, got a 7. D'Amico needs an 8, gets an 8. Longo needs a 4, no. And Keener needs a 6, gets it. And then we've got Roach needs an 8, gets it. Troyer needs an 8, gets it. That's a 12 for Clooney, that's a no. Exum needs a 9, gets a 9. Talby needs a 9, gets a 4. And Holguin needs a 6 and gets a 7, so that's a no. So that's a lot of fast pit action there. And yeah, so let's rearrange here. And now we'll check to see if Keener can move up. And he can. So Keener takes this spot here. Now I'm going to roll to see who challenges the leader. It's 5. That's Clooney. And we get a 5, and he's only a 4, so that does not work. All right, so we'll backfill here. Okay, so the results here. Garnet moves up, Shaver moves up, Doty moves up. We had a whole bunch of people here who failed to move up. And then, of course, our people who got in trouble, they're at the back here, including Ringo Ireland. So that is turn 27. And I mentioned earlier in a note that I screwed up the turn sequence, but I fixed it. So we're actually where we should be right now. So we are on turn number 28. And we get a 5 and 6. So 5 and 6. And because we rolled doubles, we're going to have a problem check in the bottom group at the end. But 5 is the bottom group, as I just mentioned, and 6 is control. So we'll start here with Raider, who needs a 3 and does not get it. Ringo Ireland needs a 5. He gets a 3, 6, 5. So he's going to be challenging odd in the 6th spot. So that would be Doty. And he's going to succeed. So Ireland moves to the middle group. Oh, wait, sorry. That is incorrect. Ireland does not have control. That will apply that one to Swanson because it's the same thing. Save myself a roll. Now we'll do Yoder, who needs a 3. Gets a 2. 2, 1, 6. So that is D'Amico, who will lose his chip. And we get a 1, 1, 1. So we get triple ones for Everett Davis. So that is a problem check. So we'll check for a problem for him. And we get a 62. And a 62 is clutch problem, roll for repair. So his repair rating is a B. And he rolled a 10, and a B in the middle third for a problem is 7, so he's out of the race. So Everett is out. Now we roll Ernie Maldonado. So if he can get out of the pack, he rolled a 6. I was so hoping that we could get him into the mix here, but he fails there. Ventura gets a 4, or 5 rather, 5, 5, 5, so he has a problem check as well. Gets a, what am I doing? I'm rolling the wrong dice here. All right, well, we're going to keep that 5, 5, 5. And this time we roll a 66, which is lost engine out of race, so Ventura is also out of the race. Not a good time for these guys here in the bottom group. Carol Worthington has double control. And I just screwed that up. I don't know what the white was because I can't see it from where I'm sitting. So 266. So that's going to be Shaver, and that is going to be a successful challenge. And because he's got double control, he can challenge again. And this time he got a 3, 5, 5. So again, he's going to move up this time to 6th place, so he got back near the top. And now Kavanaugh. And he has a 3, 5, 2. So that would be Garnet, and that would be successful. Then we have Jimmy Cottrell. Gets a 3, 3, 1, 3. So that would be McGreevy, who has a chip and will spend it. Buck Trimble rolled a 6, 1, 5, so that's nothing. No. Okay, Denny Stoffel, rather, gets a 1, 2, 1. So that would actually be Jimmy Vogt. So he's going to have to spend his chip to hold his spot since he has no pedal. So now we do Art Farias. He has a 1, 1, 5. So that's here. And he is going to take McGreevy's spot. Then we got Bronson Houston. He has a 2, 6, 4. That's Swanson. And next is Barb Garvin. Gets a 2, 5, 4. So that is Karen Mabry. So the two female drivers swap spots. And then we have Winslow Weathers. Rolls a 5 too high on the red die. And Bobby Paris rolls a 2, 2, 6. So he is looking at Bronson Houston, and that will be successful. And that is the end of turn 28.
On to turn 29. And we get a 3 and a 5. So the 3 is middle group, 5 is heat. So I'm going to start here with Bobby Farris. And he gets a 2, 6, 1. So he's looking here. The one break won't do it. So Keener does not have to use his chip. Clooney needs a 4, gets a 2, 6, 2. So he also is looking at Keener. Keener will spend his chip and keep his spot. Next heat is Adler Brown. Gets a 2, 3, 3. So he also has a chip and will spend it. Jimmy Vogt 1, 3, 3. So that's here. And that is actually going to be good enough. Actually, yeah, because he does have heat, but that would still only give him 2 breaks. So that is good enough. Now we have Vic Holder, no heat, no heat, no heat. So we're done. That is turn 29. We move on to turn 30. And we get a 4, which is middle group, and an 8, which is skill. No skill. So we start with Phil Clooney. And he gets a 5, so that's not going to work. Then Barb Garvin gets a 5, also no good. 5, 5, 6. Adler Brown, no. Billy Schrader. 6, 3, 6, no. Skill, Ralph Roach. 5, he has 5. 5, 1, not good enough. Vic Holder has a chip. 1, 3, 2. So that's here, and he doesn't need to spend his chip. Actually, he does, because he's got skill, and the break bonus gives him 2. So he's going to spend his chip and take that spot. And Mark D'Amico, last one just to try it. He's got a 4, 4, 5. That is actually good. And yeah, that's going to work. So he's going to take that spot. And that is the end of turn 30. On to 31. Oh, triple 5s. So again, on this roll, that does not really matter. We get bottom group and 10, which is TV, and then at the end we have a problem check, which I need to remember to do because I think I forgot it the last time. TV drivers in the bottom group, there's only one. Earl Berman. Rolled a 6, so that is too high. So that's nothing. So now let's roll for our problem. So we have to check the bottom group here. We get a 43, and a 43 is driver 11. So there are 6 in each column. That's Cottrell. We'll see what kind of problem he's got. He rolls a 64, which is engine trouble, roll for repair. Okay, he is an A. We are in the middle third still. So he needs a 9 or less. He rolls an 11, so he's out of the race with mechanical problems. All right, on to turn 32. 3 and 8. So 3 is middle group, 8 is skill. So we'll start with Phil Clooney. Gets a 1, 3, 4. So he's looking here. That's good enough. And we got Barb Garvin. Gets a 5, so nothing. Schrader. 6, 4, 3, that's nothing. Ralph Roach. 4, 6, 4. So the 4 is good. 6, yep, that's going to be good enough. Keener's going to drop. Roach to the top group. Jimmy Vogt rolls a 1, 1, 4. Well, Exum has a chip, so he's going to spend that. And Kerry Holgren rolls a 1, 6, 6. That is actually good enough to grab that spot. That is the end of 32. We move on to 33, 6. So we have a duel, and 7 is Fume Feud, which we know we don't have any. So that's a no event. We move on to turn 34. 1, top group, 7 is star. So we're looking for stars in the top group. So we have Kerry Holgren first. Rolls a 2 and a 3. So we do get the 2 break bonus. He's got that. So it's a tie. He has a chip. He doesn't need to use it. We move on to Worthington. 2, 5. So the 5, he's got 1 and 2 is 3. So he's going to have to use his chip. And now we go to Clooney. And he gets a 5, which is higher than his gas, so he's not able to pull that off. Exum has a star to star, so he gets 2 cracks at it, and he's going to need them because he rolled a 6 on his first one. 4-4. I mean 4-1, so that the 1 is going to do him in, otherwise he would have had it. If these 2 had been reversed, he would have had it. So no lead change there. On to turn 35. 1, again top group, and again 7. So again, we're just going to repeat what we just did. So I'm going to start with Holguin. He's got a 2 and a 6 and a 5. So the 5 is good enough. So Holguin is going to take the lead this time. Then we'll do Worthington. He's got a 4, which is good. The 2, however, is not going to be good enough. D'Amico, no. Clooney. 1, yeah, the 6 will be good enough. So Clooney jumps into the top spot. Now we've got Exum. And 4 stars. Well, he's got a break. He's got a star. That's 2 plus the 2 bonus is 4. Blue's a 4, so that's not a successful one. On to turn 36. And a 5 and a 7. So bottom group 7 is star. All right. So bottom group. Eddie Rader has a star. 3 is good. 5 is here, and 2 means that he gets to swap spots with Shad Kavanaugh. Now we check Ringo Ireland. 2-4-2. So that is even on the 4, which is Billy Schrader. So he's going to take that spot. And we have Greg Doty. Rolled a 5, too high. Ernie Maldonado. 4 is good. 1 and 4. So he's going to jump all the way up to 8th. And now we go to Pete Pettis, who has a 2-4-2. So that would be Ringo Ireland. He does have star and the break, so that is a failed challenge. Next is Lemon Resendez. 1-4-5. So that would be Adler Brown. And Lemon Resendez does make it up. Then we have Andy McGreevy. 1-5-1. So 5 odd is Raider. And he has star, so that's a no. And that's it. That's it. That's it. We go on to our third pit stop turn, turn 37. Or 4th, I guess, actually, 4th. So the black is 3, which is the middle group. And the 1 and the 2 will swap spots. Oh, that's right. Just the middle group, Joe. Okay. All right. So let's check for fast pits here. An 8 is good. 8 is good. 6, no. No. He needs a 3. Highly unlikely. No. 7. Yes. Longo needs a 4. No. Jeffers needs a 4. No. Farias needs a 4. No. Maldonado needs a 10. Yes. Keener needs a 6. No. And Vogt needs an 8. Yes. All right, so I'm going to reset here, and then we'll do our pit off the pit challenge for the lead, and we'll move on. Okay, so let's roll to see who goes challenges off the pit. It is 3. It is Kerry Holguin. He rolls a 5, which is higher than his... Oh, he rolls triples. So he has a problem. Let's check his problem. 31 is handling problem, roll for repair. He is a B. Middle third, B. Actually, we're now in the final third, I believe. Yep, we're in the middle. We're in the final third. So he needs to roll a 4 or less. This is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard. Oh, he pulls it off. Pulls it off, but he does go to the bottom. Let's fill up here. We'll roll for vote. That's too high. We'll have him spend his chip and take the spot. Then we'll fill up again and we'll check for the bottom group. Houston needs a 3. No. Winslow needs a 3. No, that's Winslow Weathers, by the way. Karen Mabry needs a 3. No. Swanson needs a 5. Yes. So Ed Swanson gets the final spot in the middle group. So an eventful pit turn, and now we go to turn 38. 1, top group, number 5, Heat. So Vote has Heat. He rolled a 4, which is higher than his 2. That's pretty low. Talby does not have Heat. No Heat. No Heat. Okay. Hooks Troyer has Heat and a chip. He will use his chip, and he will take the lead from Clooney. Now Exum rolled a 6, so that fails for him as well. So we do have a lead change. All right. Turn 39. 3 and 6. So 6 is control, 3 is middle group. Middle group control. Start with Ed Swanson. 3, 4, 6. So 4 is Worthington. Does have control with a star. So that's 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's still not good enough because he's got a 6. So that's unfortunate because Worthington was in a pretty good defensive spot there, but that does not work out. Now Raider gets a 2, 4, 1. The 1 is going to do him in. Barb Garvin rolls a 6. She likes to roll 6s. Lemon Resendez, no. Longo needs a 5. Gets a 2, 4, 5. So that will knock Swanson out. He did not last long in that spot. Farias, 3 gas, 3, 2, 3. Well, 2 is Clooney. He's got 1. He does not have control. Plus 1 is only 2. So that 3 beats him, and he moves up. Keener needs a 3 on the gas roll. Gets it. 2, 5, 6. Guess what, Lindsay Talby Jr.? You've lost your spot. We have 2 relatively lower level drivers here in the top group now. And now we've got Bobby Paris, who has a chip. 165 rather. Will not need to spend it. And now we've got Vic Holder, who has a chip. 3, 6, 2. He's going to... They both have a chip, so let's roll the black die here and see if they get to keep it or not. They do not, but nothing else happens. All right. Now we've got Jeffers. Rolls a 6, 2, 6, 6, 2, so that's not going to do it. But he does have a chip, and he does not, so he's going to take that spot, spend his chip. All right. Now, Ernie Maldonado has a chip. Rolls a 5, 2, 4. So he's going to take the second spot, and he's not going to need to use his chip. And that is the end of turn 39. We go to turn number 40. Okay, on to turn 40. You get a 6, that's a duel, and a 7, again, is going to be Fume and Feud, which we don't have, so we're going to roll for 41 now. And we get a 5, bottom group 10, which is TV. There are a few in there. And we also have a problem check at the end. So I'll leave that like that. So we'll start with Holguin. Rolls a 6, too high. Shad Kavanaugh is a 3. Also rolls a 6, too high. Ralph Roach gets a 4, 2, 1. So 4, 2. That would be Ringo Ireland. The 1 isn't going to be enough because Ireland has a break. So Berman, last man roll, he also rolls a 6, so no. So now let's roll for our problem. The locator is going to give us 35. In the bottom group is driver 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Buck Trimble. So let's see what's going on with Buck here. He gets a 36, which is vibration drop to front of bottom group with the asterisk that says if he's already at the front, he goes to the bottom. So he goes to the bottom. That is the end of turn 41. Okay, on to turn 42. 4, middle group, 9, reflex. So reflex in the middle group. Lemon Resendez is the first who has that particular quality. 2, 2, 6. So again, it's Ernie Maldonado. He's got 3 break with the reflex. He's actually got 4 break there, but he's going to still have to use his chip to beat off that 6 there. Now reflex, Lindsay Talby gets a 2, 4, 6. So that's Worthington. 1, 2, 3. It's not going to beat a 6. So Talby will jump up and Worthington will drop down. And reflex, reflex, reflex. Bobby Paris has a 3, 1, 2. Well, he's got 1 and 1 is, that's not going to beat it. So Art Farias with a 3 gas. 1, 3, 6. So that is going to be good enough. So he's going to beat off, or gotta stop saying that. He's going to beat Art Farias and take that spot. All right. That is turn 42. On to 43. And it's a 2 and a 5. So 2 is top group. 5 is heat. So we're looking for heat. And Maldonado has it, and Exum has it. Maldonado rolls a 2 and a 5, and he's got 2, and heat is 3, plus his bonus is a 5, so guess what? That does not work. So you have to roll higher than a 5. You have to roll a 6 to knock Troyer out of the top spot right now. And Exum rolls a 5 as well, so that also will fail. So that is turn 43 in the books, and no lead change. Now we go to turn 44, and we get a 3, which is middle group, and a 3, which is problem. So we have a problem in the middle group. Let's roll for our locator. 41. 41 in the middle group is driver 4, odd. So that is Swanson. Let's see what the problem is. 33. 33 is odd problem. If the pit crew's A, problem does not occur. Guess what? He's a C. So let's roll for the odd problem now. And we get another 33. And that is bad alternator to end of bottom group. So unfortunately for Swanson, he's going to drop down. We're going to move these guys up. Let's see who takes that spot. We'll start with Houston. He gets it. All right, I'm going to backfill here, and then we'll pick up with turn 45. Okay, turn 45. 2, top group. 5, heat. So again, heat is only Maldonado and Exum again. And again, it's going to be hard to beat Troyer because you need to roll a 6. On the blue, which he does not. And Exum, same thing. And no, he does not either. So again, we get a turn with not much action. And now we roll for turn 46. 4, middle group. 9, reflex. No. Lemon Resendez again. First one that possesses the quality. Rolls a 4, 1, 3. So the 3... 1 and 1 is only 2. He does not have reflex. So Resendez is actually going to sneak up into the top group. into the second spot. Carol Worthington has it as well. He rolls a 5, which is higher than his 4 gas, so he does not move up. Bobby Paris, rather. 2, 6, 1. The 1 is going to do him in, I think, because he doesn't have a break, but he does get the 1 for the bonus there. And the last one, Mark D'Amico, gets a 3, 5, 3. So that will be good enough, and D'Amico will move up. And that was turn 46. We go to our 47, which is our final pit stop turn. And we get a 1, which is top group, and a 3, or 1 and 2 rather, so they're going to swap. Which means Maldonado moves up into the 2 spot. So this is the top group and leader rolling for fast pit. Whoops. So we need a 4 or less for Jeffers. No. 8 or less for D'Amico. Yes. Talby needs a 9 or less. That's a 10. Farias needs a 4 or less. No. Zendez needs a 3 or less. That's a no. And Maldonado needs a 10 or less, so he gets one. Troyer needs an 8 or less. And he rolls an 11 and doesn't get it, which means he's going to get knocked out of the top spot. So let's see who challenges Maldonado coming out of the pit. Whoops, I needed to roll the black die for this. I forgot. It's 6. That's Jeffers. Let's see if he can get him. He rolls a 6 on the red die, so that's a no. Maldonado does have a chip, so he could have used that if he needed to, but he doesn't need to. So we do have Maldonado taking the lead here in turn 47, our pit stop turn. Maldonado feeling kind of inevitable in this case, I guess. So now we've got 3 turns left. Turn 48, 2, top group, 7, star. All right, so we'll start with Jeffers. Rolls a 6 again on the red, so that's a no. Next star is Farias. He has only 3 gas, so that's also going to be a no. Lemon Resendez. 1, 1, 4. Well, the 4 isn't enough because Maldonado's got 2 breaks and the 2 bonus for being in the lead. It's going to take a lot to knock him out of that spot, most likely. Yeah, and he also has star, so he had basically, in effect, needed to roll a 6 on the blue. So let's move on to turn 49. 1 top group, 8 is skill. So Lindsay Talby has skill. 5 is too high on the gas. Other skill is Troyer. He gets a 2-1-1. That will not work. And finally, Mark D'Amico, who has a chip, rolls a 4-1-6, which would be good enough, but they both have a chip. So now we will roll to see if they keep the chips. They do not. But he's now vulnerable, although we are now going to the final turn. So Maldonado, he started in the bottom group, so we'll see how he does here. Okay, so 3 is middle group, and 8 is skill. So it seems to be that Maldonado is going to win. So we'll start with Bryson Houston. He gets a 1-1-5. So that is Paris. Oops, sorry. 1, 1, and a 5 is good enough to actually move up into second place for now. Next skill is Dick Exum. Gets a 4-2-4. So the 2 here, the skill makes it 3. The bonus makes it 4. So Exum does not move up. Phil Clooney gets a 4-3-4. So he's looking at Resendez, and the 4 there is going to be good enough because he does not have skill and he only has a 1 break. So Clooney moves into the 3 spot. And Worthington does not have skill. Vogt does, but he needs a 2, which he does not get on the red die. Then we've got Holder, who needs a 4 on the red die, gets it. 4-4-4, that's going to be a problem check for him. And we get a 36, and a 36 is vibration, drop to bottom, top of bottom group. So he's going to go here. We'll resolve that in a moment. Ringo Ireland with skill and a chip. Rolls a 6, 1, 4. So that would be Usin, and he's going to spend his chip, and he's going to take that spot because it moves him into second place, which is big. Now, the last one with a shot here is Keener. Rolls a 4, that's higher than his 3, so that does nothing. That is the end of the race. So I will realign all these guys, and then we'll go over the top 5 or 10 here. All right, so your winner of the Copper State 500 is Ernie Maldonado in the number 12 Chevy. Second place, the number 15 Chevy of Ringo Ireland. Third place, the number 77 Ford of Hooks Troyer. Fourth place, the number 22 Chevy of Phil Clooney. Fifth, 46 car Ford Art Farias. Sixth, the number 9 driven by Lindsay Talby, that is a Ford. Seventh, Kenny Jeffers in the 34 Dodge. Eighth, Matt Keener in the 82 Ford. Ninth, Bobby Paris in the 99 Chevy. And rounding out the top 10, Brunson Usin in the number 39 Ford. That will do it for the Copper State 500. Next up on the schedule is the Hurry Up 100 at Ocean Pacific Motor Roadway. That is a road course. It is a 29-turn race. That will be coming up next here as we play our SCRAM 1995 season. That will do it. My name's Joe. This has been Hexed Encountered. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you are a subscriber, I do appreciate your support, and thank you very much. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.